Hey, what's up, visionaries? Today, I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about myself. My name is Michael James. I created financial freedom, invested in cryptocurrency and other assets. But I'm someone who they used to tell you to niche down. I'm switching my content because I think that many people don't understand that we're heading into a bunch of economics uncertainty that a lot of people don't realize that the deeper and deeper we get into this rabbit hole, right? And it'll start to consume you. And you will be trying to be tribalistic and trying to pick what's better and what's worst, and then not realize that playing that game is actually what's holding you back. We are leaving the binary world, right? Nothing is going to be either this or that. We're moving into an as well territory, right? And so over the 8 years that I've been investing in cryptocurrency, I've come to find out a bunch of different things, right? And I came up with this thing called the 3C method, which is clarity, confidence, and conviction. And then, and there's some beautiful landscapes out here, guys. And then, so I came up with this idea that it was clarity, confidence, and conviction. What does it mean? Is that the clarity part is to invest in something that you understand, right? And is what Warren Buffett said. And I'm not here to try to even compare myself to Warren Buffett because there's an interesting statistic about Warren Buffett is that he made his first million at 32 is what he said. It was something where he realized that he made his first million at like 32. And he didn't make $1 billion. How's it going? Good. And then he didn't make $1 billion until he was 50. So from that time spread of 50, from 50 to 32 or 33, and somebody can fact check me on this, but I'm not really sure if I'm accurate with what I'm trying to say. But the point that I'm trying to make here, right, is that you have to invest in things that you understand, right? And many of you aren't seeing the results that you want in cryptocurrency and whatnot because you don't understand actually what you're investing in. You're doing this passive way of investing where you are someone who's just like, someone told me to buy this coin and it's going up, right? Now, that's why that is the most insane way of investing. And many of you are probably like, well, aren't you somebody who's offering things like so? That's why the things I give away for free are the things that you shouldn't have to pay anybody for because that's not where the money's at, right? I can tell you what to buy, right? I can tell you where to fish, right? And I always like to use this metaphor. If you ever see somebody fishing, right, you'll be fishing in the same spot, right? And then somebody with their line in the general vicinity, let's just say it's about a 10 to 20 foot radius that you guys both have your lures in, right? And this guy will be just pulling fish out of the pond. And then once you realize that it doesn't matter that you know that there's fish there, how come none is biting your line, right? And that's because there's a method, there's a strategy. And I'm somebody who I like bass fishing, right? And how you work the jig is how you catch the fish. The tempo on the retrieve is the same way. How you do anything is how you do everything. One of the most important things that I want you to take away from investing is clarity, right? Understanding the how, the what, and the why first is the reason why you should be investing in cryptocurrency. Now, remind you, I'm starting out, there's 3 C's: clarity, confidence, and conviction. Now, remember, I'm starting you out with the first C, clarity, the how, the what, the why. See, first, everybody knows how, right? There's all types of businesses that are created to extract value from consumers, right? So if you don't realize that we live in a capitalistic society, right? And this is not one of those things that I'm debating whether I'm for or against it. You just have to be aware of the environment you live in. How's it going? Great. And then we live in a capitalistic society. No matter how you feel about it, right? In the capitalistic society, people are buying and selling goods. Wherever there's a market, people are going to try to extract value out of it, right? So once you understand this, right, that in the capitalistic society, you will start to realize that you're either buying or selling. If you are not paying for something, you are most likely the product, right? So, and this is the thing that I want you guys to realize is that a lot of people don't realize the more digital that we become, the more important cybersecurity becomes, right? And if you don't realize that social media and all those things, they're designed to trigger emotion out of people, right? And that's why when you see viral content, it's usually something controversial about it that prompts a response, right? And then so once you realize that we live in the natively digital, right? This is more on how, right? How do you invest in cryptocurrency? In a capitalistic society, there's going to be someone who wants to make things easier for you. Convenience is the most profitable thing in a capitalistic society. And one of the things that I want to drive home to you is that some of my dystopian and controversial and conspiracy theories, right, is because I believe that we're getting further away from knowing the how of anything, right? People don't know how to cook. People don't know how to sew. People don't know how to feed themselves. People don't know how to hunt. People don't know how to fish, right? People don't know how to do the basic things that you need for survival: food, clothing, shelter, right? There's only three things you really need in life: food, clothing, shelter. Then there's only a few things you need to do: eat, sleep, and die. And of course, you're going to have to poop every now and then too, right? So those three things are the only things that you truly need. And the only reason why you do anything else, why you go to work, why you try to make more money, is because you're trying to make either one of those three things easier for yourself. It's the only reason why you do anything. Nobody knows that the value that you create in the marketplace is the only thing that is of true value, which is why you will hear me say countless amounts of time why the only thing of value is human value. Well, Mike, what do you mean by that? It doesn't matter if you think gold or silver is great. None of it matters if you aren't, or you don't know a human that can do something with that thing that you consider valuable. None of it really matters if you don't understand all of the things in the moving parts. This is why how something works. The centralized exchange in cryptocurrency, right? The centralized exchange. You do not own the cryptocurrency, you own an IOU on cryptocurrency. See, the Coinbase, the Crypto.com, the Bitfinex, the BitGet, the Mexi, KuCoin, they own the asset. They want your fiat in exchange for the IOU on their cryptocurrency. And here's the thing where insolvency comes into play. And this is one of the things that people are fearful about. And the reason why this is important when investing, this is why self-custody is more important. Because once you own the asset, you can control your own balance sheet. See, that's what people aren't telling you. Yes, it's complicated, but you know what sucks? Is that 20, 30,000 FTX, and you find out Sam Bankman-Fried is just as shitty at balancing money as you are. And then meanwhile, just because you believe, and this is where the labels and the authority and all these hooks and establishing authority matters to you, is that you need to empower yourself, because the only thing of value is human value. No matter how you slice it. This is why clarity is important. You need to know why you're investing in cryptocurrency. It's because, why was Bitcoin created? See, Bitcoin was initially created to solve the double spending problem. And there was digital currencies before, but they were easily duplicated. This is why it was a double spending. The reason why this is significant is because, for those of you who don't know, the double spend is just essentially counterfeit. What if I could just create these things out of thin air, right? This is why you need to know the back end of blockchain technology and what actually makes it secure on the ledger. See, if you know that, that eliminates a small portion of fear in you, right? And then you understand, what is the blockchain trilemma? The blockchain trilemma are three things. is that can you solve an issue on the blockchain that is decentralized, right? Scalable, which means can it be fast, and is it secure, right? Meaning, how programmable is hacked? Now, when you look at this, you will look at something like layer ones. Layer ones is the first level of code that they do when they make on the blockchain. In layman's terms, it's more nuanced than that, but I'm trying not to be all fancy with my language. See, what I want you to understand is that can you build on top of something? See, now currently, you can build on top of Bitcoin now. Back when I first started, it was something that you couldn't do. You couldn't build on top of Bitcoin. It wasn't something that was initially ready and important for you to have to do, right? That's why Ethereum was a thing, and I still super bullish on Ethereum. Smart contract platforms. You can deploy decentralized applications on top of the first layer of code of Solidity, right? That's where you get to understand the Ethereum virtual machine and what is that all about, right? And so then once you understand the rhyme and the reasons of these things, like Bitcoin was created after the 2008 credit crisis where they were doing subprime lending with mortgage loans, right? And then so once you understand that they're doing this subprime lending, and they created Bitcoin in order to solve double spending and the credit crisis and to have a decentralized version because you can't trust banks. If there's anything that you learned from 2008, and some people still haven't learned this valuable lesson. See, in 2008, and this is the story of Michael Burry, and then this is the thing that I try to tell people all the time. This is what I mean about we're getting so far away from the source that nobody knows how to operate self-sustaining, right? Is that you think that you're paying the mortgage, but the bank has bad balance sheets because you just blindly trust them because you were told to. You don't know how to check to see if they're good on their money. You don't know if they have your money in there or not. That's what they call a run on the bank. So then if it's capable of having a run on the bank, even though you argue about something being safe and secure, how much do you know that? Then the FDIC insurance, right? Go look up when there's a run on the bank, how many people actually get their money back whenever there's a run on a bank, and how much of it do they actually retrieve? See, the thing is many people do not even look into those things, but you will argue with your peers as if you actually know this. And this is the part that I'm trying to not be like, aha, I got you. I hate that crap, right? What I'm trying to tell you is that this is the point that you need to start asking yourself. You need to start looking into things and starting to understand how much of the system you already do not understand. Then how well can you understand the current system? Okay? So now, once you realize this, right, you have the clarity. Like, I think I want to get started in cryptocurrency, right? And it's like, all right, let's stick on clarity, right? Let's just stick on clarity. Which ones do you believe are the ones that you might have the most trust in? Well, I don't know. I don't know too much about it. Okay. That's understandable. You don't have too much trust because you don't know. Let's lean into what you don't understand. What do you think that you don't understand? All right? Do you not understand why it was created? Do you not understand why and how people are making money off of it? Of course, some of the skeptics are going to tell you that you put it in and hope that somebody else buys it when you sell it. That's exactly what you do with stocks. It doesn't matter if the value increases or not. See, that's the thing that people don't know about anything. The criticisms go both ways. It's just like if you look at Elon's net worth and his wealth, right? If you start looking at how Elon just can have his net worth increase, he's not sitting on mountains of cash, right? I mean, the guy is a genius at actually infrastructure on his businesses and getting funding. There's this interview that he had where the person was asking him if he had to start over with $1,000, what would he do? And then he was saying that I would imagine that I wouldn't only have, he couldn't imagine that he'd only have $1,000. And I'm paraphrasing, and this is not accurate, but maybe I'll put this video in here or not, in between this section, so you can see it, or I'll direct you. I'll put it inside the community is what I would do. By the way, I have a community, the Visionary Village. If you made it this far, I'll have this video up, and then It's because I don't want you to be a slave to the algorithm. And I really think it's important that when you are trying to learn something new, that you have to indoctrinate yourself, right? You are going to be somebody who has to understand that you may be potentially listening to too many people, right? And as you're listening to too many people, when it comes time when the volatility shakes you out and things like that, you don't know what to do because you're listening to somebody that tells you this one is shit, this one isn't good, and this one isn't great, right? What you need to start understanding is that the more and more you start narrowing down and niching down your portfolio, your research, and everything else, you will find that you will come into more money. So now, let's get back so if you want to join the Visionary Village, there's going to be a link somewhere, probably on my channel. It's free to join. You're going to go on my email list and we're going to subscribe to, and then I'll send you emails daily, send you updates when I go live inside the community. You'll have my top crypto picks. I have a digital product which is set to launch right now, actually. You can go get access to it. And you will get the top crypto picks that in 2026 where you should position your portfolio. So you're not chasing random tokens, you're positioning yourself. And these are based off strong narratives with merit-based news. This isn't just like a bunch of, and yes, they're going to be the usual suspects that you see, but I'm also going to show you why this is important. The clarity side, right? It's not going to be just a PDF. This is going to be also a video. There's going to be videos in it. It's not a course. It's just because I think in order to learn something, you need to have visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, something that you can touch. And I think that's the best way to consume information. This isn't just like reading a Google AI summary. None of this stuff is going to be things you can Google, except like the easy, straightforward stuff. But the things that actually separates me and my portfolio from other people is because I'm a long-term investor who focuses on capital preservation with exposure to assets that have the best opportunities for capital appreciation. So now, with that being said, what I want you guys to understand is that once you have the clarity, right? Why are we investing into these cryptocurrencies, right? It's because we're becoming natively digital. As you can see, there's more and more AI, there's more and more like apps. They're building all types of software as service companies. We're getting more digital. Even your bank, most of you guys are moving money on Zelle. Many of you guys don't walk into the bank, and then for the select few of you that still do, hooray, bravo for you. What I want you to understand is that the large majority of people aren't moving this way. What I want you guys to understand, right, is that after you have clarity, the clarity gives you the confidence to deploy the capital, right? I have capital. That's why I give you the top crypto picks that I have. Why did I give you the top crypto picks? Because most people want to know what to buy, right? And then you got to have confidence. Where does confidence come from? Is that you got to understand your risk tolerance and risk management. That's why when you get the 3C Coach GPT, I really believe that most people don't understand that everything in crypto is risky. Everything is risky. Jim Rohn voice, right? Everything is risky. The thing that you need to understand is how to mitigate risk, how to control that risk, how to offset that risk. It doesn't matter if I'm going to jump off the top of that scoreboard right there, right? If I'm going to jump over the top of this scoreboard or that goalpost, there's a risk. I could slip off the goalpost, right? I can slip off the goalpost before I even get the opportunity to jump, right? I can even slip before I pull myself up to stand on the thing to jump off of it. The same thing, the goalpost could break while I'm doing it. There's several risk factors in that. See, the thing is most people don't take that. It's that money has such a hold on you that you don't understand that you use the same risk management every day. It's not complicated. It's not that you don't have time. I don't have time to work on my portfolio. It's like, yeah, you do. You just don't have time to try to find out 30,000 coins so you can stretch out your dollar. That's where most of you guys are getting the game screwed up. And see, you don't understand that you're too busy trying to chase everything instead of doing the thing that you know well. See, that's how I made money. When I made the first 6 figures from $14,000 invested, I'm taking $40 a month, and I also had exposure to Walmart stocks. I am a full-on investor. See, the more and more I started realizing that when you start to realize that the way you manage life is the success that you're going to have. And then if you're somebody who's always just trying to find out how things can go wrong, you're always going to lose. It doesn't matter. The same thing, if you're always trying to figure out if your girlfriend's cheating on you instead of just enjoying her presence and treating her right, you're manifesting that scenario by neglecting fostering the relationship. It's the same thing, no matter what. Too many of you are focused, doom scrolling, trying to be negative, cynical, whether it's Trump derangement syndrome or not, right? And I don't care whether it's somebody who hates liberals that much. It goes both ways. If the only thing you're looking for is a reason to disagree, there will never be an opportunity for democracy. Whether you're still doing the same thing with the race baiting or race switching, how you do anything is how you do everything. And this is what I want you guys to understand. In 2026, you need to stop this shit. What you need to do is you need to get laser focused on what is your problem? What ails you? What pains you? Work on it. Do you want to spend more time with your kids? Put in some time with your kids. How much time are you spending now? How can you multiply that by 5? See, if you're not monitoring and tracking and tracing, if you're not keeping score, you don't know if you're winning or not. I need to make more money than I did last year. Well, how much money did you put into the market last year? I don't know. Let me go see what Coinbase tells me. Why don't you write it down yourself? Well, I don't have time. Then guess what? What do you have time for? Work. Why do you work? For money. All right, so you're going to put your money into something and then think that you don't have time, but you're trading your time for that money that you're trying to multiply, but you think that you don't need to actually focus on understanding where you put your money and understanding how it works. See, many of you are not having success in any form of investing, whether it's buying stocks on Robinhood, cryptocurrency, gold and silver. Some of you are spending the most money you've ever spent on assets right now that are pumping. We live in a capitalistic society. Everyone knows, well, you just buy low and sell high. Then why the hell are you spending the most money you ever had on an asset that is at its all-time high? It's because it's sound money. Yeah, but unless you have millions of dollars, putting your money in precious metals is good. And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying you also need some exposure to something that actually can give you a higher return on money. This is why you need to invest in cryptocurrency, and you need to do that confidently. Then you know what else you need to understand, right? This is what else you need to know. You need to understand, there you go, let me black out. You need to understand more and more why it is the reason that you are investing in the first place. Why? What are you trying to accomplish? What is it that you want, right? What is it that you're trying to gain? See, this is what most people don't pay attention to. This is what most people don't realize. What is it that you want more than anything? What is it? And I'm going to sit down here. What is it that you want more than anything? What is your goal? What is your target? Do you want to pay down your debt? You don't just pay lip service to it. Oh, I just want to be financially free. Well, what does financially free mean? Well, I want to be able to do stuff. Well, how much does that cost? And then how much more money do you need? What is your first step? What is holding you back? See, these are the things that people aren't paying attention to. Before you invest, be clear on what you're trying to accomplish. It doesn't matter if crypto is volatile or speculative. If you're just tossing money and hoping that it changes your life, you're going to lose every time. It's like the same people who went to college and got a student loan for elementary education at a private institution, and then realize that they're only paying you $45,000 a year. And then the cost of living is $55,000, and you have a debt to pay. It's not that it's your passion, and it's not that college is a scam. It's that you were never told, and that's something that I won't put on other people, you were never told to look into how to utilize school and education to your advantage. That's what people don't know. See, the thing is, you can go and get a business degree and then get a job working HVAC as a technician, as an apprentice, $13 an hour, and then use your business savviness to start your own HVAC company and become a millionaire. See, and that's what people, this is why I want you to understand about the binary world and why we're leaving it. See, people won't put that together. See, you could be somebody who you're a specialist in one thing, skill up. You have a beautiful life ahead of you. And I know a lot of people, and this is what I'm trying to say, this is what I'm avoiding for the rest of my life, is people who are already the victim so much that they can't help themselves, right? And it's not that I don't want to help people, right? It's when someone is drowning, right? You need a flotation device because most likely if you don't have something to protect you because they're focusing on panic and survival, they might pull you down to drown as well. And that's what I want people to understand. And lastly, I want you guys to understand the conviction side that you need to have. You need to have conviction when the market pulls back, that you still are sticking to the script and the plan that you have. You need to understand that when you come into the market, you put your money in, and you don't put all your money in, and that's something that I'll talk about later, is you don't put all your money in at once. You test the waters a little bit. I call it the first position. You test the waters with your first position. You have 10 grand, put $1,000 in, and then stretch it out, and just to see what the market does. Because many of you can't handle that is because you still think it's a casino. You still put your money in as if you don't understand them. Lean into what you don't know. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Don't be fearful of that. Embrace the fear that you don't know and then act like it. Your ego is telling you that you know everything, right? That's narcissistic victimhood, right? It's where you think that you're a victim, but your ego is telling you that you already know what to do. And then when you realize that you don't know what you're doing, you talk about how you're a victim. And that's what's going to kill most of you. Not in the sense of like self-harm or anything like that. What I'm saying is that you guys need to get your mindset together to be convicted in order to invest, to realize that we're going to a digital transformation in the fourth industrial revolution, and we're going to get more and more digital. AI and all of these other things are going to take over, and they're going to do it slowly but quickly. See, you're watching it happening, and then you're not doing anything in case it does happen. You're just sitting on your hands, doom scrolling on social media, hoping that one day somebody else would absolutely fix that problem for you instead of being proactive towards it, right? You need to understand that instead of being a person who sits inside and doom scrolls while sitting on the toilet, you're on break, you're on doing this, you're doing that. And you start to realize that every day you're somebody who realizes that you're you're a frog in a pot of water that is tepid, but is beginning to boil. And by the time you realize it's too late. Well, guys, if you like this type of content, please hit like, subscribe, and if you're interested in learning more about how to invest in cryptocurrency and you want to do it with somebody who has experience, I'm not going to sell you hype. I'm not going to give you fluff. I'm not going to give you anything like that. And I'm going to be making more videos like this consistently every day. So be sure to stay tuned and subscribe and let me know what you have any questions about in the comments below.